Good evening, everybody. I hope everybody's having a good evening. Let me start this video by apologizing that it has not come sooner. I will say that life just happened and I've been really busy, but that's just an excuse. I definitely wanted to make sure that I did the video though because of the news exposure that the Zillow program has gotten. So I wanted to just kind of go through it with you. We're going to go through an article that I found, really read up on what the program involves to make a decision on whether this is just something good for Zillow PR or if it's going to be something that's good for home buyers too. Everything that looks to be good on the outside is not always good, so we definitely want to look into it to make sure that it just doesn't look good on paper. Before I start the subject of the Zillow program, let me also say that if you enjoy the content that is on any of my social media, whether that be Facebook, Instagram, or LinkedIn, or my YouTube channel, please tell people about it so that they can check it out as well. If they have real estate questions, or if you know someone that is looking to buy or sell a home, please give them my information. I can help anybody from anywhere. I would say just like, subscribe, and comment, and I definitely want those as well. But I am a realtor and this is my small business. So if you find value, please let your friends know, co-workers, family members, so that they can check it out. And if they need any assistance, have them reach out to me and I will see what I can do to help them as best I can. All right, so let's get into the video. I'm using an article that I found on Inc.com entitled Zillow is rolling out a 1% down payment for home purchases. It is a stroke of genius. We're going to see if we really agree by the time that we make it through this article that is a stroke of genius, and more importantly, we're going to see if it actually will be of any benefit to homeowners, and if so, if they're just particular homeowners or future homeowners that it would benefit. We'll see what we come up with at the end of the article. So just to go over some background on what the program is, Zillow is offering an opportunity for buyers to purchase a home with a 1% down payment. Zillow will, for those who qualify, then kick in an additional 2% at closing, bringing the down payment for the home to 3%. Right now the program is in Arizona. It should be expanding to additional states. And so one of the examples that they gave to kind of explain how the program will work is going to be based off the Phoenix area. But basically, again, we want to look at even that to see if when it expands, is it a smart move for home buyers to take advantage of, and whether programs like this would actually even be any good for the economy at large. The article itself said it's not clear. We'll see what we think by the time we make it through the article and discuss what is being offered. And so the idea of this program that Zillow is offering is so that people who can afford, and let me stress again, this is for people who can afford a mortgage but don't have enough to pay even a 3% down payment at closing. And so if you're looking at the Phoenix area example that they give, they use someone who makes $79,200 a year, which is 80% of the local median income in that area. And if that person saves 5% of that income, they would have enough for the 1% down payment for a $275,000 home in 11 months, as opposed to them having to wait 31 months to save up that 3% down payment. So you have the potential to save or to shave 20 months off of your journey to home ownership. If indeed this program benefits you, that would be one of the benefits. And so by buying with only a 1% down payment, what we have to look at is, does it really benefit the purchaser to just have that amount be what they're giving? Now, it is brilliant on Zillow's part to be offering this, because we know that Zillow is essentially, they make their bread and butter off selling advertising on their site. And what they have to do is look for ways to make sure that they're insulated from fluctuations in the real estate prices and market. So as long as there are houses that are being listed for sale, there will be advertising on their site. As the market grinds to a halt, then of course they're going to take a hit on those advertising dollars. So they have to find a way to kind of move things and keep transactions flowing. And so this 1% down payment is a measure of doing that. Now, what you also have to look at is renters. The rental rates are rising. They tend to go up, not down. And if they go down, the down is definitely not as the same extent as what it went up. But on average, you're looking at about $27.50 for. I'm sorry. On average, you're looking at a little over $2,000 for rents in most areas, and that's rising. So you'll have a lot of renters who are looking to avoid those constant rising rents. So this will be something that may have them salivating to go ahead and make that jump to purchase a home. Now, with this, what it potentially can do is have someone pay $2,750 as a down payment, as opposed to paying $8,250 for a down payment. So that savings is going to be really beneficial for someone who can, again, manage a monthly mortgage payment. They just don't have the liquidity of their cash or funds to go ahead and make such a large down payment in the beginning. Now, with this, that's going to be one of the first incentives to the program. But secondly, it does benefit Zillow, because we know the last time that Zillow had any major news was in regards to them stopping the flipping of houses, and that caused them to have to lay off about 25% of their staff. So that didn't necessarily put Zillow in a good light. This is something that is hopefully going to bolster their image, because they are offering to assist people with realizing their dreams of home ownership. Now, whether or not it's going to be good for you are really going to come back to some questions that you should ask yourself, whether you're taking advantage of a down payment assistance program or not, just simply because you're looking to purchase a home. But again, when you're looking at history, if you go back to the 2008 crisis that we had in real estate, where we saw a lot of people getting into homes that they could not afford, it had dire consequences on the market, on the people that borrowed the money, on the lenders that gave the money. Just really, it messed up the nation's economy as a whole. So we don't want to go back to that. We also have to look at when we're looking at a downside, we want to look at what the potential upside is again. And so typically you want to be able to put down 20% for a down payment on a home. That's going to help you not have to purchase mortgage insurance. It's also going to help insulate you against any price fluctuations in the real estate economy. Now, we know that with real estate prices being at near all-time highs, paying 20% of a down payment on a house is not going to be realistic for a lot more people than it would not have been realistic for before. So you also have to look again at the fact that rents are rising, and so having this cushion to be able to do less on the down payment and get out of these fluctuating rents are going to have a larger pool of people looking for a house potentially. So if that's you and you're in that situation where you're currently renting and you're looking to get away from, how the rent prices are rising, then the 1% down payment could be a good situation for you. But again, you have to consider some of the same things that you need to consider when you're just thinking about buying a house in general. First thing is going to be how long do you intend to be in this home. When you buy a home, you want to think about the time commitment that you're putting, because it's going to really determine whether or not you need to even buy a home. Now, most people are going to borrow if you're borrowing about 97% of the purchase price of the home, and the real estate prices in your area come down even just a little, then you're going to find yourself in a situation where you'll be underwater, meaning that you're going to owe more on the home or more on your mortgage than you would ever possibly get if you sold it. So that means you're underwater. Now, if you're confident that you're going to stay in the home for maybe 5 years or more, then you're taking less of a risk in that area. And so you're also going to be looking at the fact that the market could really just fix itself. And so your home would be more than your mortgage again, in theory, if the market fixes itself. But again, if you're going to be in the home for 5 years or less, there's a real risk that your purchase price would not pay off your mortgage, which means you're going to end up having to still come up with the rest of that money in order to sell your home. Now, the second thing that you need to look at, again, whether you're buying or you're looking at this down payment assistance program, is what is your income potential? If you see an increase in your income coming, then it may be a good time to go ahead and move forward with purchasing a home and taking advantage of this program. But you want to be kind of confident in that assessment. So if your business is taking a big leap, or if you're getting a windfall, then you could potentially use that money to pay down the principal on your home. And that's going to be a good thing to do, because you can't pay interest on money that you've already paid. So that's going to cut down the interest on that. And then with mortgage rates hovering at about 6 or 7% in that range, what that's going to guarantee you is that 6 or 7% interest rate, you're going to be earning a guarantee on that, which is better than any investment really that you could make. So your monthly mortgage payments are not going to change just because you're adding that additional money to your principal, but the larger portion of the payment would be affected, and you're going to be getting equity in the home, which means, and also you're going to be shortening the lifespan of the mortgage. So there's some real benefits to paying more than just your regular monthly mortgage payment. And that would be the fact that, again, you can't pay interest on money that you've already paid. You're guaranteeing yourself the percentage of that interest rate by doing those extra payments, and then you're going to decrease the lifespan of your loan. Now, with the way things are with the economy, it's hard to kind of really predict what your income is going to do. You do not want to be overly optimistic when you're making these kind of decisions. So if you're not confident that there will be some uptick in your income, or that you'll get that windfall, or that the sale of the current home is going to give you a good amount to pay down the mortgage, please make a common sense decision, because it may not make a lot of sense for you to look at this program if you can't really guarantee to some extent where your income is going to go. Can you afford a home in general is a really good question. And the answer to that question is not always clear, because some people may think, well, I was able to afford over $2,000 monthly rental payment. Well, there's more involved with owning a home than just the monthly mortgage. You've got repairs, you've got maintenance, you've got yard upkeep, you've got homeowners association fees. The homeowner's insurance is going to be a lot more than renter's insurance. You have to pay for garbage collection. There may be assessments that are charged if they're doing work on the streets in your neighborhood. I mean, there are a lot of fees that can be involved with owning a home that a renter never has to pay. So, we definitely advocate for home ownership, but you have to be realistic and don't think just because you were able to pay a certain amount in rent that you're able to pay a certain amount in mortgage payments, because again, that's not your only responsibility when it comes to owning a home. And so many experts recommend that your mortgage payment should be equal no more than 28% of your income. And that's a great rule to follow if you can. It should also be low enough that you can set money aside each month for unexpected repairs and maintenance expenses, because they will arise. It's not an if, it's a when. And you will need to pay them to protect your investment that you made in your home. So you want to make sure when you're evaluating your budget that you consider those things. Now, this article indicated that there is a growing number of people who frequent Inc.com who receive daily texts with self-care and motivational micro challenges or tips. and they've texted back, and what they winded up having a conversation in the area about this budgeting, and if you can afford a home. Many entrepreneurs or business leaders who know how important it is and yet how difficult it is to keep your expenses and income in balance really know that it's a struggle. Buying a home with a 1% down payment could be a way to help build equity instead of paying rent, or a way to undermine your finances and saddle you with an unsustainable debt. So you really have to be truthful with yourself when you're looking at your budget. It sounds good to own a home. Everybody wants to realize home ownership. Unfortunately, like with a lot of things, all things are not for everybody. So you have to be realistic and realize, it's not a never, it's just maybe not a right now. You have to really think about that. You want to make sure you know that it is going to work for you before you take out this loan, because eviction and foreclosure are two entirely different things. So you want to make sure before you jump that you're actually able to manage. And so that's the end of the article from Inc.com. And I guess my thoughts are numbers are always going to be important. So on any video that I do that's real estate related, when it comes to a buyer, pre-qualification, knowing your numbers, is something that I preach. So if we look at all of that and then we say, yeah, this is feasible, then I would be, going, to the end of the world with you and back to make sure that you're able to take advantage of this program. I have been through a situation with someone who got into a home that they probably should have been told that they would not be able to afford, and then they ended up having to go through a foreclosure. So I've seen the downside of this journey, and I really want to make sure that anybody that I assist is realistic about what they can afford, what kind of budget we need to stay in as far as the purchase amount of the house, just really looking at the additional costs that are involved with being a homeowner. And if you can do that and not end up house poor, then I'm again gonna ride to the end of the world with you and back to make sure you realize that unfortunately it may be a situation where we just decide right now is not going to be the best fit, and that means I don't get a commission, but that also means that I have assisted you with putting yourself in the best position to purchase a home in the future. So for me, the jury is still out on the Zillow program. It sounds good to only have to pay a 1% down payment and have them kick in the additional money to get you to the 3%. You have to make sure that your credit is of the standard where that you're going to get approved for the loan. But you also need to make sure that you actually financially can afford the monthly mortgage payments. This is not going to be something for someone who can't. You wouldn't even qualify from what I'm reading. So you just have to think about all of those factors. I want everybody, especially our first-time home buyers, to be able to go through this journey and realize the feeling of getting those keys to something that is yours and no one else's for the first time. What we don't want is months and months down the road you questioning, what did I get myself into? I was not prepared. Or even years later, my payment is ballooning. I did not know this, that, and the third. We don't want to get into those situations. So education is key. But that is it for the Zillow Down Payment Assistance Program. We'll be keeping an eye on this, and I'll report back should I hear of any changes, or as we start to get some feedback on how the program is actually working for those in the Phoenix area. We'll do a follow-up video just to kind of go over that. If you know of anyone who takes advantage of the program, good or bad experience, please let me know so we can kind of, maybe not dig into their specifics, but look at some of the ramifications of how this could affect certain people if they take advantage of the program. I want to thank you for watching. Again, as I said in the beginning of the video, if you know anyone who needs real estate assistance, please give them my information. I am on LinkedIn, Instagram, and Facebook. I do have a website, ChristinaSellsTheCoast.com. They can contact me through my Caldwell Banker email address at christina.johnson@cbrealty.com. I can take phone call or text at 850-992-7459. I look forward to assisting you and your friends and family members and coworkers with any real estate needs. Thank you again for watching this video, and I hope you all have a good evening.